NSFW, what is something that you regret doing? Staying in retail for as long as I did. I didn't believe that I could work anywhere else because I lacked any skills. I finally couldn't take it anymore and quit without notice. Thankfully, I not only had cheap rent but money saved up. I took a few months off, felt better, challenged myself to find a non-retail position. Am making only a little more than I did before, but am so much happier and am going back to school. I have long-term plans. What kind of job did you land exactly? I'd like to avoid the retail loop as well. Find a field you want to work in and start working towards certificates or accreditation in that field. Binge eating. I agree. Feeling. My ex. Me too. 0 stars. I was a real to one of my exes. He's honestly one of the best men I've ever met. I was a total drunk at the time and broke his heart. It never would have worked out with him even if I wasn't awful, but I wish I could tell him that I am so sorry for how I treated him, and that knowing him has helped me be a better person that I never would have gotten to be on my own. Waiting too long to learn how to drive. It's really best to learn when you're a stupid kid and don't conceptualize how dangerous the task of driving theoretically is. So much easier to learn anything as a kid because you don't feel like for being a beginner. Not listening to my ex's family when they told me she's a pathological liar. This would also be my answer to, what's the worst scenario got you into? I feel like there is a backstory here. I think the username pretty much tells the story. Being a crappy pet owner when I was younger. I didn't have bad intentions or abuse my pets, but I got them without knowing how to properly care for them, and it led to unnecessary suffering. I deeply regret not understanding the needs of these living, feeling beings before adopting. Not staying in college for engineering. It was the mid-90s, college was cheap, and I seriously think I could have done some great stuff. I loved the challenge of designing things, but my knowledge and access to tools and materials are limited. I doused my hand in lighter fluid and lit it on fire in college. In retrospect, it was a bad idea. I'd hate to tell you this, but it was a bad idea long before retrospect. Not learning a music instrument, sad face when I was younger. You still can do it. Not taking the chance to do things I wanted when I was a teenager. I had every opportunity to lose my V card in school, but my late mom taught me not to and had already accused me of doing so. My fear of being beat by her or anyone else led me to fearing. Years later, my older sister has 2 kids and a loving boyfriend, and I'm here feeling repressed. Not everyone has to have kids to be happy, and someone will love you for who you are. So many regrets in life. All there is to do now is to recognize my mistakes and live a life I won't look back and cringe on. Selling a guitar a poor friend gave me in order to have enough money to buy a G-Shock, only for him to find the same guitar in the pawn shop loudly crying. Did they stop being your friend? Someone dared me to put some of that orange extra strength Tiger Balm on my. I would not recommend it. Not keeping in touch with childhood friends after getting new friends. About 6th grade, I lost touch with about 4 childhood friends. Why? Because I found 2 new best friends who meant everything to me. I spent all my time with them, and over time, stopped talking to these childhood friends at all. The tables turned suddenly when both of those great friends I had left me for a new friend. I was completely alone and didn't have anyone to be friends with. Years later, I don't have any contact information. This is something I regret quite a lot. I can't speak for your situation, but I think you probably think that you'd still be friends with your old friends if you had stayed in contact with them. That isn't very likely, if it makes you feel better. People change a lot in that time. Marrying a stripper in Vegas. Got a get out of jail free card on that one though, due to some very lucky paperwork issues. That sounds terrifying. Were you high, drunk when it happened? I regret being dismissive of my younger brother's pain. He had been going through a messy custody battle with his ex after she stole several $1,000s meant for utility bills and rent, hid the bills, and used the money to engage in a several-month-long sordid affair with her now fiancé. Once he found out, he confronted her. She then took the kids and moved across the state. My younger brother was hurting so very much. He took to abusing alcohol to extremes, and started a short downward spiral. I went to visit him on Mother's Day last year. He had lost so much weight. From a size 44 to size 32 waist, he lost 12 pant sizes in 6 weeks. His fridge was bare aside from a dozen eggs, hot sauce and a pickle jar that had been there since they moved in. He cooked a small pot roast to give to Mom and Dad while I helped mow his lawn. I cooked for him that afternoon, but he hardly ate. He acted proud of his weight loss. I went home that night, and several days before he passed he called me up at 3 a.m. drunk out of his gourd. He kept ranting about how this was all because of his poor life choices. How he blamed himself for Mom and Dad not being able to see their grandchildren, and how he felt. I was so very dismissive. I actually told him, "Austin, this isn't a suicide thing, is it? Because I don't think I can handle that right about now." Why did I say that? He was just lonely, sad and frustrated. All he wanted was for me to listen to him, and I said that. I didn't realize just how bad it was. How he couldn't even afford to buy garbage bags. He never once told me. All I did was ignore the signs. It turns out he started pouring the garbage from the house into his garage. He asked me a month before he passed how much I'd charge to clean his garage out for him. I told him I would need to see how much there was, but just to name a day and I'd be there. He never did. My baby brother hanged himself next to that mountain of trash inside his garage one stormy night in May. I have dealt with my self-hatred for not being there for him since that day. Never did I ever think he was capable of doing that. He was so much stronger than I am. I regret not loving him the way I should have. I know it's not my fault. I know it was his decision, but I can't help but hate myself for it. I'm sorry for your loss. Not going to school. Eating too many cookies. Abusing my body. Not taking the chance with my best friend when I should have. Edit grammar. Go on. Sounds like an interesting story. Being with my first true love. He hurt me so bad that after 5 or more years later I'm still struggling with depression and hate. Coming out to my teachers and asking them to call me by my preferred name. I basically got disowned by my mom when she found out. Hey, for what it's worth, it takes a lot of guts to come out like that, especially when you're asking authority figures to change how they address you. Please don't ever regret the action, you absolute badass. My first tattoo. It's Arabic calligraphy. I like the word, I like the personal significance, I like the cultural significance, I can read it. But the font is just so ugly. I wish I didn't go fancy with it. No calligraphy, just the word. That would have been great 9 years ago. I was getting bullied at school and I screamed at them because it was going on for years, and I told them, I am sick of this and for like a year they thought I was gonna shoot up the school. To be honest, if I was given the choice to be bullied for years or to think I'm gonna do a school shooting, I take the shooting. And heroin when I was 15. When I was in 2nd grade, one made fun of a girl for being really short. I was tall for my age and she was 2 years older than me, but only as tall as my waist level at the time. I called on random people in her class to come see how short she was. I said, "Wow, how did you get so short?" Pointing and laughing. She looked miserable and didn't say a word. As someone with albinism who has frequently had people ridicule me for my appearance, I should have known better. I felt awful about it the next day. But I never saw her again or got the chance to apologize. I'm 25 now and I still regret that to this day. In a few hours being awake right now. Getting a big mouthful of water and spitting it out on my teacher's chair. I was a child when I was in 7th grade, but I was going through and wanted friends, so I would do anything someone told me to do. Living. Started dating a girl while having feelings for another one. Ended up hurting her, and losing a chance of having a great relationship. I will never do that again. Getting addicted to nicotine. Meth. Believing him when he said I was everything to him. Turns out I wasn't, and now I'm just broken. Marriage with someone I had doubts about. No raggarts. Getting in a car that crashed. I regret killing that little girl in Bahrain. Knowing that she would have gone on to kill hundreds at Cambridge doesn't make it any easier. WTF. Opening a credit card in college. I had to abuse the out of that gold card to ensure my survival. The job market was garbage back then and I couldn't pay it off for years. It really pushed me deep into depression, especially with collection calls and my parents seeing the bills come in all sorts of colors. Not finding my self-worth sooner, which led to staying in situations Selling my 1911 was worth $2,400 bucks at the time. Now it's worth $11,000. Deciding to lose 5 pounds. Now I've lost 10% of my body weight due to an anorexia relapse. I wish my clown didn't even do this. Not joining the Navy when I had the chance to go in with a good rank out of high school. I was the Navy JROTC in my high school for all 4 years, and if I joined when I graduated I would be successful financially. Instead I wussed out and decided to go to Job Corps and settle for not following my dream. To be fair, you might have actually dodged a bullet with that one. Marrying my ex-husband. Allowing men to do whatever they wanted in order to feel some sort of love. When my first crush hugged no reason and I ripped up a piece of paper she gave me and walked away. Only to walk back and past her cause I went the wrong way. This was when I was about 10, and it's definitely one of the reasons why she didn't like me in that way. I hate younger me. I had a chance and blew it by being a huge to her. I made her cry multiple times, and now I want to slappy I used to be. Dropping out of the tech college. I'm 28 now and just started online school. My biggest fear is that I'm going to sabotage myself again. Being born. Right now. Having surgery to remove cancer from my pancreas. It was 2 centimeters and I could have waited. It didn't seem like it was growing after a year of watching it. The surgery was the initial recovery was I went back in with an infection and stayed another week. I am now starting to spike baby fevers, making me think that I have to go through all of this again. Had I just kept my mouth shut and watched it some more, I wouldn't be scarred up, in pain and freaked out about another hospital stay when they stick a tube in me and drain out of my body. Changing colleges in the middle of my education. Not only did I graduate with a less useful degree, I also closed the doors on many good opportunities, thinking I'd have better ones at the new school. I didn't. I regret it every day.